Welcome to this explainer on Python input and output functions. Today we're doing something really exciting. We're going to take your rigid, static code and literally transform it into a dynamic, two-way conversation. We are finally giving your programs a voice. Think about the Python programs you've written up to this point. They're great, right? But honestly, they have one massive limitation. They're trapped. They just display predefined values. You run the code 100 times, and it does the exact same thing 100 times. But what if we want users to enter their own name? Or maybe their age? Well, today, we're fixing that. We're teaching your code to talk, and more importantly, to listen.
All right, section 1, making your code speak with the print function.
So, in Python, speaking is handled by output functions. Whenever your program displays text, numbers, or whatever data is hiding inside your variables, that's called output. And Python gives us a super handy built-in function for this. It's just called print. You literally just wrap your text in quotation marks inside the parentheses like print, open quote, hello world, close quote, and boom, it's on the screen. But it's not just for text. It can calculate and print math, like 25 plus 5, right on the fly. Now, Python actually gives you a ton of control over how this speech looks. You can format your output perfectly using special parameters and escape characters. For example, if you toss in a \n, you force a brand new line, breaking your text apart. A \t, that gives you a nice clean tab space. But my absolute favorites are the separator and end parameters. By default, the print function separates multiple items with a standard space. But if you add sep equals the hyphen, you can string words together, like python-java-c++. And normally, print just drops down to the next line when it's done. If you want to keep printing on the exact same line, you just use the end parameter and set it to a space. It's all about getting your output to look exactly how you want it.
Moving on to section 2, listening to the user with the input function.
If output is talking, well, input is listening. Input simply means receiving information directly from the user while the program is actually running. Python handles this with the incredibly powerful input function. And honestly, the coolest part about this function literally pauses your entire program. It just hits the brakes and waits for the user to type something in, like their name or city, before it moves on. This right here is the magic key to making interactive programs.
Let's look at how this actually works behind the scenes, because the input function follows a strict four-step logical process. First, it displays whatever message you give it, say enter your city. Second, it waits, and I mean it will wait forever if it has to. Third, the second the user types their answer and hits enter, it grabs that value and stores it, usually right into a variable. And finally, step 4, the program wakes back up and continues running using that brand new piece of data.
But watch out for section 3, the data type trap and understanding conversion.
Okay, listen up, because this is probably one of the most crucial concepts you need to grasp today. The input function always, and I mean absolutely always, returns data as a text string. So if you ask a user for their age and they type the number 20, Python doesn't see a number, no way. It just sees the text character 2 and the text character 0. To Python, they might as well have typed the word apple. It's a string, not an integer. And if you forget this little detail, your program is going to crash. If you ask the user for a number and then try to, say, add 10 to it, Python will throw an error straight in your face because you can't do math with a text string. The fix is actually really simple, though. You have to explicitly convert that input. You just wrap your input function inside int to turn it into a whole number, or float if you need a decimal. Once you do that quick conversion, Python knows it's dealing with a real number, and your math is going to work perfectly.
That brings us to section 4, formatting fluent conversations using f-strings.
The old school ways of combining text and variables, using a bunch of commas and plus signs, man, that can get really messy really fast. Enter f-strings. This is a total game changer. Python gives us f-strings as a clean, super readable way to inject user variables directly into our printed sentences. You literally just pop the letter F right before your quotation marks, and then you can drop your variables directly inside curly braces within the text. It reads just like a normal human sentence. My name is Daisy, and I am 20 years old. It just makes your code look incredibly clean.
All right, the fun part. Section 5, building interactive projects and putting it all together.
Let's actually build something. First up, a simple calculator. It sounds basic, sure, but it uses literally everything we've talked about. The program needs to listen for a first number using input. But remember the trap, we have to immediately convert that input into an integer. Then it listens for a second number, converts that one too. Only after those conversions can it calculate the actual math, the sum, and finally use the print function to spit the exact result back out to the user. Just like that, you're writing software that actively works for the user.
Let's take it a step further with a second mini project, a user profile generator. We can ask the user a quick series of questions like enter your name, enter your age, converting that age to an integer, obviously, and enter your city, so we gather all this dynamic data. Then, using our trusty F strings and a few print parameters, like that new line escape character we learned, we can cleanly output a fully formatted dashboard. The result? It looks professional, it's organized, and it is 100% custom to whoever happens to be sitting at the keyboard right then.
At the end of the day, without input and output, applications just aren't all that useful in the real world. These functions, speaking and listening, they are the absolute foundation of literally every interactive system out there, from a basic desktop calculator to massive complex web portals. So, now that you know how to dodge the data type traps, and now that your code is finally awake, speaking, and listening, what exactly are you going to teach it to build next? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and keep exploring.